a crime spree ended.
I had a kind of feeling that he looked shady.
A wanted man shot by police after a chase. The actions that led a store clerk to think trouble was coming.
I was keeping an eye on the cameras.
A struggle for justice.
We're coming up to a year and we don't even know what color car hit him.
Gabrielle Rodriguez's death is unsolved. 9 on Your Side investigates how many at-fault drivers who kill pedestrians go to jail. 9 on Your Side at 6 starts now.
911, what's the location of your emergency?
6050 Cheviot Road, Marathon Station. Somebody just robbed me under gunpoint.
That was the 911 call for help. And the breaking story we've been covering for you all day. A suspected armed robber shot by police in Westwood. The robbery today was in Green Township. That suspect, though, is also wanted for robberies in Cincinnati and Covington. The clerk at that store told 9 on Your Side that he was watching the cameras when Nicholas Schneider walked in. More on that in a moment, but our team coverage starts with Evan Millward. He has new video of the Schneiders' encounter with police in Westwood.
Police cornered Robert Schneider on this dead-end street off Boudinot Avenue. You're about to see new video from a neighbor of his failed attempt to get away that way. That's when police say he pulled a gun and an officer shot him. An entire neighborhood seemingly under siege as a sheriff's helicopter buzzes around the end of a 5-mile chase. Neighbor Tom Lander is recording as you see a man go up a hill between 2 houses. An officer gets out of a cruiser as another comes down the other side of the road. Robert Schneider, who police say they shot on this street today, is accused of 3 armed robberies Monday in 2 states. And then this morning, an armed robbery in Green Township at this marathon station.
You hear the one shot, I kind of stood next to the tree and let them do what they do.
Neighbor Marvin Blasingame was also recording the chaos, something he's never seen in 35 years in Westwood.
You can leave your front door open. Now it's to the point to where you really don't even want to walk to the store.
A multi-state crime spree, police say, ending with the suspect shot and neighbors rattled. The scene here on Geyer Woods Lane just cleared a couple of hours ago. This has been turned over to the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office tonight. In Westwood, I'm Evan Millward, 9 on Your Side.
Well, the police chase that ended with that shooting actually started at a gas station in Green Township. 9 on Your Side's Josh Bazan is live to explain what the cashier at that store said after Robert Schneider left the building. Josh?
Hi, Craig. That cashier says he was watching Schneider closely the second he walked through those doors. He says Schneider got away with about $600 or $700 in cash from the registers, but stuck around long enough for that cashier to tip off police. We know this is at least the 4th armed robbery Schneider has been accused of in recent days. Covington Police Captain Brian Valenti tells us his officers confirmed the suspect shot by police in Westwood today is the same person accused of robbing Kimmy's Corner grocery store on Monday. And in Cincinnati, police say Schneider also robbed Hyde Park Wine and Spirits and Saks Fifth Avenue downtown. The cashier from the Marathon in White Oak didn't want us to use his name, but he says he felt like something about Schneider was off. He also says Schneider stuck around outside the store after the robbery.
So I took advantage of that, and I took his license plate, and that's how I was able to direct the officers. So I gave him the tag number and everything. But whatever happened to him, it's good. I think whatever cops did, they did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Not only it happened to me, but in general with anyone, it could happen to anyone.
This is surveillance video from inside the store. You can see a man who police say is Robert Schneider taking all of the cash from the registers. And according to police, Schneider was shot 3 times by an officer and is listed in serious condition. Reporting live at the Marathon gas station in Green Township, Josh Bazan, 9 on Your Side.
Josh, thank you. An update tonight on the suspension of a priest at St. Ignatius in Green Township. A letter from the Archbishop says Father Jeff Drew will not be returning to the parish. He is accused of inappropriately texting at least one boy. The letter went on to say Father Drew will undergo a physical, psychological, and spiritual assessment at an inpatient treatment facility. It's important to note, at this time, Father Drew has not been charged with a crime. However, if you know of anything suspicious or criminal, you are asked to contact the Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office.
Well, in just over 24 hours now, the President of the United States will be in Cincinnati for a campaign rally. President Donald Trump will appear with Vice President Mike Pence at the U.S. Bank Arena. The event starts at 7 o'clock. Presidential visits have caused traffic issues in the past. 9 on your side will keep you updated on any road closures and significant delays throughout the evening. Make sure you download our mobile app as well. And by the way, you can watch the President's rally on our website, WCPO Facebook page, and your favorite streaming device like Roku and Amazon's Fire TV.
Could Ohio turn to other execution methods if the state can't find the right drugs for lethal injection? The Columbus Dispatch reports Governor Mike DeWine says he will talk to legislative leaders about whether or not they should pursue legislation allowing a different execution method. The governor put executions on hold until the state can work out new policy. A judge raised concerns about the constitutionality of Ohio's current lethal injection system. The governor said yesterday the state is having trouble finding a new set of execution drugs.
A Cincinnati woman is accused of abusing a person with developmental disabilities while acting as her caretaker. Bond for Sharday Berry was set at $2,000. Prosecutors say 2 people called 911 to report concerns of abuse, and the alleged victim was then evaluated by doctors who then say that the marks on that person were consistent with abuse. Prosecutors say Berry is also accused of falsifying reports. Happening right now, Hamilton is celebrating a new mural in one of its neighborhoods. Take a look here. Here's a drawing of the mural. Our media partner, the Journal News, reports muralist and graphic designer Dave Rickard came up with the idea here. A dedication for the artwork started a short time ago. It was painted on the side of Minnick's drive-thru on Pleasant Avenue.
It's sickening, really, to not be anywhere closer.
A teen's death unsolved to this date. 9 on your side is digging into recent cases of pedestrians killed in crashes. Why so few at-fault drivers have actually faced jail time?
And a busy day follows the brawl that everyone is talking about. John Popovich is tracking the moves the Reds made in just the last few hours.
And a raging fire. Several people were hurt at an ExxonMobil plant in Texas. On World News Tonight, the conditions that forced a shelter in place for some people in that town just east of Houston. Keep it here, and thank you so much for joining us. You're watching 9 on your side at 6.
Well, the picture doesn't look too much different from the last time that we saw it. This appears to be a veritable parking lot, but if you look at the top of the screen, you can see that traffic is starting to move in this breaking news situation. 275 westbound is starting to move again right near 5 Mile Road. This is the exit just past Riverbend. We're told 3 to 4 cars are involved in a crash, and 1 person is being or has been transported. We'll keep you updated as we learn more about this. Tonight, a standoff in Dearborn County is over, and the suspect is charged with burglary while armed with a deadly weapon. Police say this started around 10 o'clock last night. They say Nicholas Gregory was outside a home on Banbury Drive and was seen waving a gun and threatening to harm himself. Gregory barricaded himself inside the home when authorities arrived. People in the home got out safely. The standoff ended late this afternoon.
A ride shut down at the Ohio State Fair is waiting for its manufacturer to come in to inspect it and then recommend a fix. Last week, inspectors shut down the ride before anyone from the public rode it, and inspectors found corrosion there. It was also dismantled with no plans to return to the fair. The safety of rides is top of mind, of course, for many after the death of a teen who was thrown from a ride. Steve.
Okay, Craig, as we look at things, we still have a chance for some showers here through the end of the week, so I'm going to show you how that plays out. And we've got a 7-day that, well, as we enter into August, it's looking a little bit better than you might think.
And new at 6, a deadly crash with no answers. A teen hit by a driver who left the scene. 9 on your side is investigating how many drivers involved in deadly wrecks face penalties. That's next at 6.
Hit and run crashes. How often is someone really held accountable for them? Well, we've been following the problem of pedestrian safety, of course, all year.
It is part of our ongoing Move Up Cincinnati coverage of growth in transportation in the tri-state. 9 on your sides, Pat LaFleur dug into the data to find out how justice is served.
It was nearly a year ago when 15-year-old Gabriela Rodriguez lost her life while crossing this street to catch her bus to school. 10 months later, the memorial is still sitting at the corner of Hansford Place and Harrison Avenue. 10 months later, her family continues its search for answers. Shauna and Eduardo Rodriguez are used to having lots of kids coming in and out their front door. Among their 4 children, they said their youngest and only daughter, Gabriela, demanded the most attention.
All my kids are, bright and loud and happy, but Gabby was the loudest.
Gabby's voice was silenced last year, though, after not 1 but 2 vehicles struck the softball stand out in the pre-dawn hours. The second vehicle, which police say dealt the fatal injuries, fled the scene. In the months since the crash, her family feels like they know even less now than they did then.
We're coming up to a year and we don't even know what color car hit her. It's sickening, really, to not be anywhere closer.
It's not just hit-and-run crashes that can leave families with questions. A WCPO analysis of City of Cincinnati crash reports and court records found that since 2013, 20 fatal crashes involving pedestrians listed the driver as at fault. But only 10 of those resulted in a penalty for the driver. 4 resulted in jail time, and 6 more resulted in probation and license suspension. Assistant Hamilton County Prosecutor Jocelyn Chest tells us multiple factors determine whether a charge is warranted and how severe. It's a felony case when
we need to prove either they're under the influence, that would be a felony, or if they were driving recklessly, which would be, for example, someone blowing through a stoplight, blowing through a stop sign, speeding.
Driving distracted, like texting and driving, that's considered negligence, a misdemeanor carrying a $150 to $250 fine. And sometimes there's not even enough evidence to prove that.
If we can't prove he was under the influence, he or she was under the influence, or he or she was driving recklessly, then we look, hey, can we prove that this person was negligent? If not, then it's just an accident.
Ohio attorney Steve Magus represents people injured in these types of crashes. He told 9 on Your Side that the way state law is written can also make who's really at fault even less clear.
Legally, the law is a little goofy in that, and it talks about this whole suddenly leaving the curb and not putting yourself in immediate danger. So it's a little hard to figure that out on the fly.
That makes knowing for sure who was in the wrong difficult.
And a pedestrian often loses because these cases generally come up in situations that aren't glaringly obvious as to what happened.
As for Eduardo and Shauna Rodriguez, in the absence of a suspect, they've made pedestrian safety their new life's mission.
For me, that's the only way I know how to honor her. One way to honor her is to fight these battles and try to go to City Hall as much as I can. And if they get tired of me, I'm okay with that.
Pat LaFleur, 9 on Your Side.
We reached out to Cincinnati police for an update on the investigation into Gabriela's death. We're waiting to hear back. For a more detailed look into Pat's analysis of the pedestrian crash cases, you can find his full report right now on WCPO.com.
All right, we're going to switch over and talk about the forecast now, and some pop-up little showers here and there.
Yeah, there's a little weather system that's going to be a nuisance for us, or at least I should say for some folks, not everybody.
Troublemaker.
Yeah, there's just a little pop-up shower here and there for the rest of the week. So let's show you if you're affected, because I have to say most folks will not be. But here's our 9 first warning Doppler, and it's dry in 99.9% of the tri-state. But in some locations, you'll see, especially east of greater Cincinnati. Look at this over the last hour, and you'll see some of the little pop-up activity here showing across the tri-state. Folks in Peebles know what I'm talking about, or West Union. Mount Orab had a little shower. Look at Augusta and Ripley getting in on the action as well. This same kind of forecast is going to continue and repeat as we head into tomorrow and also on Friday and Saturday. So as you look at future view tonight, we're generally looking at some partly cloudy skies, and overnight we might catch a little bit of fog because of the moisture that's around. And then as we head into Thursday, everything's really generally dry, and then in the afternoon once again, watch the little flare up here. And there it is for a lot of folks who are east of I-70, around, let's say, Wilmington and Batavia, Alexandria, Falmouth, and points out to the east. And for that matter, that same forecast holds because this nuisance low, this little troublemaker, very nicely said by Kristen, hangs around and brings us extra clouds for most folks and that slight chance of a shower as we head through about Saturday afternoon. But most around the tri-state will just enjoy some pretty nice summer conditions as we see temperatures that are seasonal and humidity very tolerable for this time of the year. Okay, so where do we stand? We're at 83 degrees. Dew points at 63, and that's what I mean by tolerable humidity. Tonight, temperatures fall into the 70s, and it's going to be a mild night generally overnight as well. Temperatures are going to stay into the middle 60s. In fact, you see that in my forecast map here for the tri-state, anywhere from about 61 to 65 degrees. And then tomorrow, we're looking at low to middle 80s in the afternoon. These temperatures should come in at about 4 or 5 o'clock or so across the area. In Cincinnati, 65 degrees and 83 in my forecast for tomorrow. 7-day forecast shows the 30% chance tomorrow, so a little bit better chance of those pop-ups. And then Friday and Saturday, very slight, and Sunday, that low will be out of here, so I don't see it at all. And then we continue with seasonal weather really going into next week. Overall, it looks like a fairly dry forecast here for the tri-state. Now it's time for sports, and here's John Popovich.
Thanks, Steve. We thought it might happen back when the Reds made some winter trades. We knew it would happen as soon as they struggled into July. The latest trade involves Scooter Gennett, who late this afternoon was sent to the Giants for a player to be named later. It was June 6, 2017. Gennett hit 4 home runs in a game against the Cards, the only Reds player to ever do that. Gennett has been a big contributor, but there were questions whether the Reds could retain him after this season, so not a surprise. Neither is the departure of Tanner Roark, who was traded this afternoon to the Oakland Athletics in exchange for 21-year-old outfielder Jamison Hanna. But the biggest move of all came last night. The Reds made a trade for Trevor Bauer, an odd guy but a terrific pitcher. Keenan Singleton has more.
Watch this. He turns and fires it. Thankfully,
the last time we saw Trevor Bauer, he was playing a game of long toss with himself. He threw a tantrum and a ball over the center field wall after a poor start against the Royals. Now with the Reds, he gets a fresh start. One of his new teammates can't wait to get underway.
He's a legit ace, man. His career speaks for itself. He's kind of done everything. He's pitched in the postseason. He's pitched in big games. Man, the guy's a stud, and we already have an unreal pitching staff, and he's just going to make it better.
Bauer wants to be even better than that. He wants to be the best. In fact, in a Sports Illustrated piece in February, he claimed he was only good at 2 things: throwing baseballs and making people angry. There's a method to Bauer's madness. He's the most analytically driven pitcher in the game today, giving spin classes and spin rates to both pitchers and batters alike.
Very crazy smart guy, his pitch designs and stuff like that. So I'm definitely looking forward to talking to him about that, because I know he designs his own pitches and stuff, crazy stuff like that. So, nobody else does it. So I'm looking forward to that.
He'll try to keep all the balls, whether they be hit or pitched, inside the yard come Sunday in Atlanta versus the Braves. Keenan Singleton, 9 on your side.
The flurry of trades didn't overshadow the bad blood that happened between the Reds and Pirates. On display again last night, it finally got to Amir Garrett in the 8th inning. Pirates had thrown at Reds batters. He was tired of the back-and-forth talk, so he ran at their dugout. Amir against 25 Pirates.
Man, I don't even know what to say. When I got in there, I thought to myself, oh man, this might not have been a good idea, but it happened. I'm okay with it.
Finally today, after the trades and the fight, there was baseball. Jesse Winker began a business day special with a solo home run in the 1st inning. Then in the 3rd, Eugenio Suarez with a bomb. This is a 2-run shot. Reds took a 4-0 lead in the game. Luis Castillo was outstanding in winning for the 10th time this season. He gave up only 6 hits and only 1 run in 7 innings of work, and the Reds won it 4-1. Now here's Kristen. She's working on 9 on your side at 7. Kristen?
Thank you, John. If you have ever been to the Newport Aquarium, you've probably seen the divers in the big tank. The guy who started that is a tri-stater making a big impact that actually goes well beyond the tank. I'll tell you his inspirational story on 9 on Your Side at 7. And we have an update for you on the breaking news on I-275. As you can see, the westbound lanes are back open, so traffic is moving again. Steve.
And in the forecast, we're looking at generally some dry weather all across the tri-state, with the obvious exceptions out there by Hillsborough, Georgetown, West Union. We'll have the update coming up at 7.
All right, that's it for 6.
We'll see you at 7.